Thanks for your question, Kate. TUSC doesn't only believe in the democratic public ownership of the banks, we also believe in democratic public ownership of the railways, the gas, the electricity and the water companies, bringing back the Royal Mail into public ownership and all the utilities that have been privatised over the last 20 or 30 years. And that's because we need to control these industries because they affect people's lives in a huge way. The banks particularly gambled on the markets, many of them. They lost, and then they expected the public purse to reimburse them and bail them out. As a result of that, we got huge amounts of cuts and austerity, poverty, benefit cuts, pension cuts, job cuts and service cuts, and yet the bankers are still literally laughing all the way to the bank. Big fat bonuses, huge salaries, and it's simply not acceptable. They were the culprits in this financial crash, and they should be the ones to pay for it. If we actually democratically owned the banks and actually controlled them, we could make sure that ordinary people are looked after. So, for example, there was a good argument for helping the banks so that ordinary people's savings were protected, but I'm not in favour of protecting the people who've made huge amounts of profits, millions and millions of pounds being compensated at the expense of public services. And that's why TUSC are fully in favour of democratic public ownership of the banks. And actually, we wouldn't compensate the rich millionaires and the billionaires and the chief executives and the huge corporations. They've made enough money. They don't need compensation. Banks are crucial to our economy, they're crucial to ordinary people, and therefore we have to make sure they act in the interests of everybody. And the same applies for the other utilities I mentioned. We need to have decent, cheap, affordable electricity, gas and those things, and the way to do that is bring those companies back under democratic public ownership.